Urgals, or Urgralgra in their native language, are a race of sentient humanoid creatures that inhabit Alagaësia. In the first book, they had been forced by Durza into the service of Galbatorix. They are considered evil by most humans, but are not inherently so. Though most are uneducated in the normal definition of the word, they make up for this with brute strength, as well as exceptional combat and commanding skills. They were used as expendable shock troops by Galbatorix's army. The Urgal language is simple and guttural. Only a few phrases are known to outsiders, and most of these are related to war and combat. Angela the herbalist is one of the few who can speak their language. As with other races, they are capable of using magic to the ignorance of both humans and dwarves. With the fall of the Broddring Empire, the Urgals were made dragon riders along with the dwarves. Urgals are roughly humanoid in appearance, with grayish skin, bowed legs, and thick arms. They have yellow piggish eyes, claws on their hands in place of nails, and a pair of long twisted horns protruding from above their ears. Urgals can be anywhere from 6 to 9 feet tall, and Urgal's height depends mostly on hereditary factors. Urgals have 7 toes on each foot, as do dwarves, a similarity that Aragorn observes when traveling with Nargarsov, although both species believe it to be the creativity of their deities rather than any possible genetic relation. Female Urgals, or dams, are somewhat slimmer than their male counterparts, although just as tall. While still massive, their horns tend to be shorter and more delicate. Urgal children are often accompanied by the dams. Children who have not yet gotten their horns look surprisingly similar to human children, except for the difference in skin and eye color. Although humans and dwarves think of them as merely bloodthirsty beasts, Urgal mothers actually care very well for their young. That being said, their entire culture revolves around violence and physical strength, with a warrior's prestige being directly related to how many kills one has had, or how many opponents they have slain in combat, as well as their height and the size of their horns. Their horns are a sign of pride. If an Urgal were to lose his horns, it would be equivalent to being stripped of his being and manhood. While Urgals have, on average, lifespans similar to humans, they are stronger and faster and can run for much longer distances than any human or dwarf. When these feats are observed at the dawn and dusk hours, they often become subject to misunderstanding, and this accounts for many tales of strange beasts among the other races. The Urgals originally came from the same land as the elves. They followed the elves over the sea to Alagaësia, like ticks seeking blood, in the words of Brahm. However, Heslant the monk noted in Domina Abervirda that considerable skill would be required to build and sail ocean-going vessels, so perhaps they were capable of some sophistication. Upon landing, about 3 centuries after Dufern's Skullblaka, they signed peace treaties, and indeed the peace was kept for 2 decades before the dragon riders drove out the violent Urgals from much of the land. They were looked down on by the other races for their distasteful appearance and their love of warfare. During the era of the riders, a group of Urgals ambushed the rider Galbatorix and killed his dragon, John Volsk, with a poison dart. This triggered the Second Dragon War and the rise of the Broddring Empire. Just prior to the Rider War, Durza the Shade, one of Galbatorix's most trusted servants, cast a binding spell upon the Urgal race, forcing them to serve the Broddring Empire against their wishes. The clans united, as was not their way, and were forced to do Galbatorix's bidding until he decided to dispose of them at his leisure. Urgals fought in many of the major battles during the war. They captured both Arya and Aragorn. They brought both their captives to the forest city of Gilead. Later, when Aragorn killed Durza during the battle under Farthendur, the spell was broken and the Urgals were freed. Then, they turned on each other. The Urgals began to hate the Broddring Empire and Galbatorix for the sake of the wrong which had been done to them. Their hatred became so strong that a group of Urgals under Nargarsov even allied themselves with the Varden at the Battle of the Burning Plains, hoping to exact revenge for the wrong done to them. Afterward, many other Urgals joined the Varden. Only a few tribes still refused to work with their old enemies. At the end of the war, the Urgals, along with the dwarves, were inducted into the spell so they could become riders. The Urgal culture is centered around warfare. The societal ranks of both males and females are decided by their ability to kill. Urgals are a tribal race, and each tribe is under the authority of a war chief, or Nar, in the Urgal tongue. These tribes often fight with each other, as well as human settlements or cities. Urgals are known to fight both alone and in groups. The term for young Urgals is a cub. An adult male is known as a ram, and an adult female is a dam. Male Urgals wore loincloths, although during battle they donned metal and leather armor. Urgal villages are often well hidden and well protected, residing in well-defended caves in the center of the spine region where humans tend to avoid. An Urgal village contains carved animal motifs from logs which stand vertical, which the Urgals believe will scare off animals that the motifs represent. Urgal families will weave a namna, an ornate piece of cloth woven with bright threads, which represent the history of the Urgal family which possesses it. They were traditionally hung at the entrances to Urgal dwellings. Namna are so important to the Urgals that only a master weaver is allowed to add to a namna or repair one if it got damaged. When a male Urgal cub's horns begin to show or bud, he must go into the wilderness and kill an animal to prove himself. Most young rams hunt mountain goats, wolves, or less threatening prey. Nargarsov, however, became chieftain of the Pulvek tribe by strangling an Urzhad, a giant cave bear, to death when he came of age. In Brissinger, he fashions the Urzhad's stomach into a makeshift pot to cook venison stew. The Urgal diet consists of mainly meat such as venison, nagra, or giant boar, bear, fowl, and wild roots, berries, and leaves. The meat was usually roasted or put into a stew cooked in a leather pot using hot stones with tubers and leaves. They make a kind of wine from berries and tree bark. Humans such as Aragon believed it to be stronger than even the dwarven brew, and it tasted like cherries gone bad.